Board games, from Monopoly to Wingspan, from What Do You Meme to Twilight Imperium. Spanning every genre, for all ages and across every real and fictional theme. As different as they are, they all harbor a hidden power. The power to change lives. I'm Steve, and this is nerdsection.com. Chapter 1: Anchor. As different as people are, so different are the problems and challenges. Depression, anxiety, or simple introversion can drain all joy from life, or at least make certain situations exhausting. Board games can be a life-saving anchor here, and in several ways at once. First and foremost, board games provide structure. Depending on the game you choose, players already know in advance what to expect from the next few hours and how the evening is likely to unfold. For players who otherwise feel lost in groups, that can be a lifesaver. Board games also offer a topic of conversation before one is even needed. Introverted people in particular know how small talk can sap energy and how a lack of topics too often lead to awkward moments. At a table, that problem disappears. The goal is clear, and so are the topics. And whether you use the game as a springboard to move from a factual discussion of turns to real personal conversations is entirely up to you. If players need more control over the situation, it's better to choose more complex games. There are countless suitable options. Ark Nova or Terraforming Mars are two popular examples. Party games, on the other hand, like Galapagos or Codenames, are perfect starting points that break the conversation out of the game and onto a more interpersonal level. If you are looking for more party games, be sure to check out our video on the best party games of all time. Co-op games can be a real secret weapon for interpersonal dynamics. In a co-op, no one is solely responsible. Everyone contributes something. Introverted people find teamwork here without having to push themselves into the spotlight. New or uncertain players can observe, plan, ask questions, make suggestions. And they are needed, because every contribution counts. However, the organizer of a game night should be careful when choosing the game and the group with regard to the so-called alpha player problem. This refers to situations where a single player takes charge and makes all the decisions alone. This happens particularly often in cooperative games. Pandemic and Zombicide are two titles well known for the alpha player problem. If this pitfall is avoided, a game quickly becomes a social anchor. It shifts the focus away from me towards we. And that's exactly why the barrier to meeting others drops. You are not going out to be social, you are going to play. That may sound small, but it opened doors. To the neighborhood game night, to a group at the university, to the open table at the local game store. Those who feel unsafe in unstructured spaces can find stability and routine with this framework. And who knows, maybe in this process some will regain a little joy in life. Chapter 2: Skills. Board games don't just help you maintain or make friendships, they also teach skills. Skills you can take into real life. Strategy and tactics, for example, are two abilities that board games develop brilliantly. Strategy means having a plan, tactics means adapting that plan to reality. Board games forces players to connect both layers. You have to manage resources, plan your moves, and, when someone disrupts your strategy, adapt flexibly to new situations. You stop seeing problems, you start seeing options. It's no coincidence that even CIA agents use board games to train skills that can give them a clear edge in their day-to-day work. We have made a comprehensive video about how board games are used in CIA training. Feel free to check it out. Negotiation is another skill. A good trading game can help you state interests clearly, hammer out compromises and build alliances that last longer than a single turn. Players learn to craft fair offers or decline them, without damaging their relationship. That's negotiation practice, only it's fun. And of course, and especially, our youngest benefit from board games. Perseverance and frustration tolerance grow, because losing is part of the experience and getting back up is rewarded. Clear rules and taking on specific roles teach responsibility, fairness and honesty. Fine motor skills are fostered by setting up games or moving small pieces, and teamwork by cooperative and semi-cooperative games. And let's be honest, teamwork is something many adults still need to learn. And if you have kids, you should definitely subscribe to our channel. Our video on playing the right way with children is about to launch and will be released very soon. So, it's clear that board games teach soft skills that go beyond a single play session and can add real, tangible value to your life. Chapter 3: Connections. The family sits facing each other, a cheeky smile, and bang! The youngest throws a card on the table that foils her parents' plan. Everyone knows moments like this, from their own childhood or with their own kids. A good family game brings generations together and lets them play with or against each other as equals. Of course, the classics get plenty of play, like Monopoly or Catan. But more modern games with refined mechanics, like Doom Links, are increasingly finding their way into the living room. Simple rules, short sessions, and lots of laughs are the kind of ingredients that win over a non-gamer. If you would like to learn more about Doom Links, we have put together a quick, entertaining review for you. And if you then decide you would actually like to have a game, take a look at our website. We are currently giving away several copies. But now, back to the question of how board games can build bridges between generations, languages, and cultures. Language neutrality is a powerful tool here. Many designers work with symbols and colors, creating board games that get by with hardly any words. That means these games can be played even with people who barely speak the game's language, on trips or in international circles of friends. Suddenly everyone is communicating, not with words but with cards and gestures. Beyond generations and languages, board games also connect cultures. Board Game Geek divides the games it catalogs into over 500 categories. That shows one thing above all: there's hardly a topic for which there is not at least one board game. Countries, cities, animals, music, or historical eras. The imagination shows no bounds. Whether generations, languages, or cultures, board games connect humans. Chapter 4: Memories. Every player has countless of them. Board game anecdotes. The crazy last-second rescue from the cursed island in Robinson Crusoe, the risky attack that actually worked in Game of Thrones, or playfully gunning down your neighbor in Galapagos. Moments like these become shared memories with family and friends. They're priceless. Not only do they make each individual moment magical, they also strengthen every relationship. Board games let you slip into roles that seem out of reach in real life, and visit worlds that can only be described as bizarre. And the best part, every experience is unique. But how can you make sure you get to enjoy as many of these moments as possible? With a regular game night, weekly or monthly, with the same group or rotating circles of friends. Especially in times when so much feels uncertain, a game night is a welcome change of pace. And if game nights are not enough for you, we recommend full-on board game weekends, preferably in a different setting, maybe even in a different region, with family and friends far away from everyday worries and problems. If that sounds interesting but you don't know where to start your planning, we have put it all together perfectly for you in a video. But it's not only playing board games and the memories they create that brings joy. Chapter 5: Hobbies. Beyond simply gaming, there are countless related hobbies that can enrich your life in lasting ways. First and foremost, take a look at the so-called miniature games. Titles like Warhammer 40k or A Song of Ice and Fire are usually far more spectacular and immersive than classic board games, because they also bring the third dimension on the table. And this third dimension forms the basis for many other hobbies, especially painting the miniatures and building terrains and arenas. Many players actually spend more time on that than actually playing these games. Painting a single miniature can take hours, and typically it's not just two figures fighting each other in these games, but entire armies. But even with traditional card and board games, there are countless side hobbies. The most popular games have their own tournaments and leagues. Magic the Gathering and the other collectible card games, for example, are particularly known for this. But there are also championships for Catan and other classics. However, while both collectible card games and the miniature games can be great fun, they have a major downside. They often cost not only a lot of time, but also a lot of money. Crafting inserts for game boxes, designing or trying out print and plays, writing own scenarios or house rules, these are projects that are far cheaper, just as enjoyable, and can make life more interesting. Chapter 6: Conclusio. Board games come in every shape and color, and yet they all share one thing: they can change lives for the better. Whether it's through social support for people who struggle in groups, whether it's by acquiring soft skills that add value in everyday life, whether it's by connecting people across generations, languages, and cultures, whether it's by creating shared memories, or whether it's by discovering new hobbies. Each of these points enriches life. Taken together, they form a hidden power capable of changing lives. I hope this video gave you some food for thought, and maybe you have a friend or two who could benefit from it. Thanks for sharing and see you next time.